Remember a while back when I released my last algorithm video and you asked for more and more algorithm videos, and I said yes, definitely, I'm going to create more algorithm videos for you? Well, as you can see, I took a little while to get to that, and I'm sorry about that, but I promise you that it is definitely worth the wait. This is the best algorithm video I've made so far. And in this video, we're going to take a look at solving a problem that actually is great because it doesn't test your knowledge of remembering a bunch of really contrived algorithms, but it actually tests you at the core of your problem solving skills in a really unique and challenging way. And I can't wait to show it to you. So without any further ado, let's get started now. My name's Kyle, and this is Web Dev Simplified, where I simplify the web for you. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe for more videos of me simplifying the web for you. Let's get started by actually looking at the problem that we're going to be solving today, and this problem is called add two numbers, which at face value, that appears to be incredibly easy, but I promise you it's much more challenging than it looks. And essentially what we're given is two non-empty linked lists, and what a linked list is essentially it's kind of like an array, but each element in the array has a reference to the next element in that array. So instead of accessing it by index, you access it by going from one element to the next element and to the next element and so on until you get to the end of the array. So it's really easy to go sequentially through the array. So what we have is these two linked lists, and they're just full of non-negative numbers, integers to be exact, so whole numbers, and these whole numbers are actually representing the digits of a full number. And these digits are stored in reverse order inside of the array. So if you had the number 120, for example, the very first element in the array would be 0, the second element in the array would be 2, and then the last third element in that array would be 1. It's just that number 120 in reverse, which each of the digits taking up their own element inside that linked list. And the goal of this algorithm is to take the two linked lists we get and to add them together and then to return another linked list which has the number that it adds together to. So let's take a quick look at the example that they're showing us down below. As you can see, we have a linked list which is 243, which is the number 342 because it's in reverse order. And we also have the linked list 564, which is 465 since it's in reverse order. And as you can see, we're adding those two numbers together to get 807. And what we're getting returned from our function that we create is we want to return that 807 number, but of course in reverse order, so it goes 7, then 0, and then 8. So immediately, just by looking at this, we can kind of already brainstorm an initial solution to this problem. And the way that it works is just by doing normal addition. You start with the bottom number, which in our case here is the very first element in our arrays, and we add those two elements together to get 7, as you can see down here. We then go to the next element, which is 4 and 6. When we add those, we get 10. So what we need to do, just like in normal addition, is we keep the 0. So as you can see, 0 here, but we actually carry over that additional 1. So when we get to 3 and 4, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus that carryover of 1 gives us the 8 for our final output. And that's essentially the initial solution to our problem. We're going to run into a bunch of edge cases as we actually solve this problem, but let's just start coding up our initial solution to see where the edge cases are as we run into them. So here we have our initial code, and as you can see at the top here, we have our class, which is our list node. It's a little bit confusing because they put function here, but it's really just a class. And essentially this list node is going to take a value, and it's going to have that value, and then it's going to have a next value, and this next is essentially just a pointer that leads to the next element inside this list node. So every list node will have a next, which points to another list node, or if it's the very last part of the array, it'll actually just point to nothing, so null. And just to kind of iterate how this works, imagine you have an array of 0 and 1. This would be exactly the same here as having what's called a new list node with a value of 0, and then we wanted the list node next. So this list node, let's just set it to a variable here, is going to be just called 1, since it's the first element in our array. And we're going to have 2 here is going to be equal to a new list node of 1. And then what we want to do is we want to put 1.next is going to equal 2. So essentially now what we have is we have a linked list where the first element here has a value of 0, and it's got a next property which points to 2, which has the value of 1. So this is exactly the same as our array up here, but we actually access the as elements here by using the .next property. And that's what we're being passed in here. We have two linked lists, which are going to be our two different elements that we're adding together. So let's clear out all this code so we have a base value to start with here. There we go. And the first thing we need to do is actually figure out how to loop through our linked list that we have. And a really easy way to loop over a linked list is to use a while loop. For example, we can say while, and we just want to put a value here. We'll just call it L1, which is our first linked list. So while L1 is not equal to null, we want to do everything inside of this loop. And then inside of this loop, we just want to set L1 here equal to L1.next. And this is just going to get the next element inside of L1. And this is going to loop through all the elements of L1. but we actually want to loop through the elements of L1 and L2. And while in the example we are shown they both were the exact same length, it is possible that L1 will be shorter than L2. For example, adding 420 to 25. Your second element here of 25 is only going to be 2 elements, so it'll actually end first. So what we need to do in here is we need to actually put in an OR. L2 is not equal to null. So what this is going to do is it's going to loop through this while statement as long as we have elements in either L1 or L2. And we also need to make sure that down here we put L2 equal to L2.next, just so we know that our linked lists are constantly iterating over themselves. One thing to note though is, as I mentioned before, we have potential for one linked list to be shorter than the other. So for example, if L2 is shorter, the L2.next is going to be null, while L1 is not going to be null for .next. So we actually need to make sure that we do a check here. So we want to say if L1 is not equal to null, then we can actually call this .next function on it, and we want to do the exact same thing down here for L2. This just essentially makes sure that we don't ever accidentally try to access the next element when there is no next element to access. And there we go, we're not actually going to run into these null error exceptions anymore. So now that we're able to actually end our while loop by incrementing on our linked list here, the next thing we need to do is get the value from our linked list. And this is actually really easy. As we can see up here, we have a .val method, which is our value. So we can just say that we're going to create a variable called v1, which is just l1.val. And we can do the exact same thing, but we want to do this for our v2. So we can just say v2 is going to be equal to l2.val. But again, we have a very similar problem. Our linked list could be different lengths, for example, 3 digits and 2 digits. So we need to also do this check here for our null check. So let's make sure we copy that down. If L1 is not equal to null, then we can actually set here v1 to our L1.value. Otherwise, by default, we want to set v1 to 0. Let's do the exact same thing for v2 by default. Copy this down. Whoops, there we go. Make sure it's indented properly. And if L2 is not equal to null, then our v2 can be equal to L2.val. And now here, we already have essentially the basis for our algorithm complete. We have the values for our different numbers, and we can add these together. So we can say that the sum down here is just going to be equal to v1 plus v2. And just to show what we have done so far, let's create a default array here. I'm just going to set it to an empty array. And what we want to do is actually just want to take our sum here and put that into our array. So we're just going to push our sum into our array. And then at the end here, we're just going to log out that array. Console.log of our array. And essentially this array, what it's going to be is just going to be the reversed sum of all the different numbers in our linked list. So let's run our code and see what we get as our result. You'll see that we get an error. Let's check this error. It says assignment to constant variable. So obviously we need to make these lets because we're trying to assign a value to them later, as you can see here. So we need to make sure they're let. Let's try running that again. And as you can see, we get the output of 7, 10, and 7. And so far that looks really good. 2 plus 5 is 7, 4 plus 6 is 10, and 3 plus 4 is 7. We just need to make sure that we have the carryover working properly, and then we also return this as a linked list instead of a normal array like this. So let's get working on the carryover first. And that's going to be actually pretty easy. We just need to create a variable out here, which is going to be our carryover. And by default, our carryover is going to be 0. On the very first instance, we're not going to have anything carrying over, so we're going to set this to 0. And down here, we want to actually add our carryover to our addition. So anything we carried over from the previous addition is now going to be put into our sum here. But how do we actually get that carryover? And luckily, this is actually incredibly straightforward. We just need to divide our number by 10 and then take whatever we have before the decimal point. Essentially, we want to get anything that's a whole number when we divide by 10. By coming down here, we can say our carryover is going to be equal to sum divided by 10. And we just want to make sure that we get the floor. So we can just say math.floor of that number. And what this essentially is going to do is it's going to take our sum, let's say that this is 7, is going to divide it by 10, which is going to give us 0.7, and then math.floor is going to round that down. So 0.7 will round down to 0, so our carryover will still be 0. If, for example, our number was 11 though, 11 divided by 10 is 1.1, and that'll round down with math.floor and give us 1 as the overall number left over. So now that we have our carryover being taken care of, let's actually do this run again and see what we get printed out. As you can see now, we get 7, 10, and 8. And that's perfect because our 1 is being carried over, so 3 plus 4 plus 1 is 8. But this number 10 should actually be 0. So we actually want to make sure that if we have a number larger than 10, we actually need to roll that down to be the smallest number here after the decimal point. And to do that is also really straightforward. We can just come down here after our carryover, and we can say that our sum, which we're just going to change here to a let, we just want to say our sum is equal to sum modulo 10. And essentially what this does is it says divide this number over here by the number on the right as many times as possible and tell me what the remainder is. So for example, sum divided by 10, so if we had 11 divided by 10, our remainder is going to be 1 left over after we've divided as many times as we possibly can. And now let's just run that one last time again to see if that worked. We should get 0 in that slot, and as you can see, we got 708, which is perfect. That's exactly what the output is expected to be. All we need to do now with our output is actually make sure that it's a linked list instead of a normal array, because that's what they're expecting us to return. And that becomes a little bit trickier because we can't just have a default array like this. What we need is to have the beginning of our linked list. So let's create the beginning of our linked list. We're just going to put this into a let variable, and we're just going to call this result, and the result is going to be equal to a new list node, and this is just going to be a list node of 0. This is the very beginning of our linked list. We also need to make sure we keep track of what the current element in our linked list is. So we need to have here, which is going to be our current node, and we just want to set that equal to our result, because by default, our current node is just this beginning of our linked list. Now down here, instead of pushing our sum into this array, which we can actually completely get rid of, let's remove all of the array related code, just like this. Now what we need to do is we need to take our current node, and what we want to do is actually set the next value on this, and we want to create a new list node, which is going to be of that summed value after we've taken it modulo 10. So now we have here our current node, and the next value of it is actually the next element inside of our addition that we are trying to do. And now all we need to do is, just like down here, we need to take our current node and actually increment it. So our current node is going to be equal to our current node dot next. So now what we're doing is we're taking our current node, which at the beginning is 0, and then we're adding our next value to it to be our new list node, which is going to be that summed number. And then we're taking that current node and setting it equal to that new element we just created in our array. So essentially we're doing the exact same thing we did with the array, but now we're doing it with linked list instead of arrays. Now at the bottom here, we could just return result, but this is actually going to have that additional 0 at the beginning. I'll show you by running this code here. And as you can see, we have 0708 instead of 708. So an easy way to get around that, if we just subtract this down, is to actually just return result.next. So now if we run this code down here, you should see that we'll get the exact same output, 708, 708. So we know that this is working perfectly. Let's actually submit our code and see if what we did is working all the way through. So we submitted it, let's expand this over here, and you'll see that we immediately got a wrong answer here. And this is because our output was 0, but it expected it to be 0, 1, which would be 10. And the reason that we're having this problem here is because we're not taking into account our carryover. For example, if we add 5 and 5, we're going to get here a sum of 0 after we do the modulo, but we'll have a carryover of 1. But we never use that carryover after we exit our loop. So what we need to do down here is check if we have a carryover. So we can say if carryover is greater than 0, so if we have some form of carryover, we actually want to make sure that we append this carryover to the end of our current node. So we can just come down here and say current node.next is going to be equal to a new list node with our carryover in it. And now, just like that, if we run our code, we should still have the same result being shown up here, and that looks good. So now let's actually submit our code, and it's judging, and we'll come over here and see, and it says that our code successfully executed, and you can see that by these high percentages, we were able to do it very quickly and very memory efficiently compared to most other submissions. And that's all it takes to solve that problem. If you want to see more algorithm videos from me, they're going to be linked over here, and I promise the next one won't take nearly as long to come out, so if you want to see it when it does release, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified when it comes out. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.